Welcome to the first Vena webinar made by Sonum. In this webinar, we are going to see how to get grip of all our Excel spreadsheets with Vena. First of all, to make sure there are not background noises, all attendees are put to mute by default. You can post questions via the chat area. We will try to answer all the questions before the end of the presentation. If you have an urgent question or problems with the connectivity, please raise your hand and someone will help you as soon as possible. The current webinar agenda is as follows. First, a short introduction to Sonum, then a brief introduction to Vena Solutions, and finally, a practical example of how to merge Excel spreadsheets into Vena. After all of this, we will answer your questions, if you have any. Sonum is an authorized partner of Vena, so our professionals are highly qualified to implement this software solution. Sonum is based in the Netherlands and Spain. We are a niche consulting firm focused on planning, budgeting, and profitability management. We create true value throughout combining a big IT and business management experiences. The result is planning and budgeting processes with more impact, more accurate forecast, and the removal of all and non-value-adding processes from the client's companies. Dozens of big clients trust us and our skills to make their planning processes more efficient and reliable. We believe technology is the most important key enabler for true value-adding management. That's why we offer a bunch of different software solutions to our clients to find the most suitable tool to their situation. One of our most powerful tools is Vena. Let's get a deeper insight about Vena Solutions. In this second part of the webinar, I'm going to talk to you a bit about Vena. Vena thinks in the same way you think. That's why it makes all business processes easier while offers the same features of the best CPM tools. And there you can see several awards and nominations as proof. But the best proof of Vena's tool value are the clients. Dozens of top companies all over the world trust Vena to manage their processes. So Vena is a cloud-based CPM tool which leverages the previous investment in Excel of all our clients, but eliminates the inherent Excel risks, like versioning or uncontrolled environments due to thousands of different Excel workbooks. That's why Vena is a very polyvalent solution which offers the easy use and the flexibility from Excel and the power and security of the best CPMs. Until Vena was born, the market landscape was like you can see in this slide. Companies were at a crossroads between the pros and cons of the Excel environment or the pros and cons of the CPM's environment. Now there is a tool which keeps the best features of both worlds. You will be able to turn Excel sheets into powerful CPM solution. So you will get grip of uncontrolled environments thanks to data integration tools, central database, workflows management, and different user level, while keeping Excel's appearance and friendly use. Some relevant points about Vena's tool to keep in mind before the demo are: there is a single access point for all users, where they can find a status tracking dashboard for the tasks, and they can leave comments in order to improve the collaboration. You can design processes in an easy and quick way, with the sophisticated drag and drop tool, and give users different access levels. Vena allows to map the original Excel spreadsheets with the items and dimensions created at the cloud, to turn them into empowered Excel templates with CPM's features. Finally, Vena is as flexible and multi-purpose as Excel is. We can create processes and integrate data from other human resources, sales, ERP, CRM solutions. At this point, we can see how Vena works with a demo. We have created an Excel spreadsheet for this instance. This Excel is supposed to be a regular spreadsheet used by a company to store all the data about net sales, cost of goods sold, and gross sales for each company's department, for each product per year, and for different scenarios and currencies as well. As you know, this means a lot of different Excel tabs and workbooks, which must be sent to different users in different countries wait for their replies, consolidate the gathered data, and, in the end, a big mess and a lot of work. Let's see how Vena can help us. The first step is going to the venasolutions.com site and type our username and password in order to get access to the cloud platform. Once logged, at Manager tab we can see a list of different processes and select ours. Processes and user access levels can be created and configured at Admin tab. Okay, at Manager tab, the first thing we will see is the process graphic workflow. This workflow is made of one activity. An activity is like a box where you can store several different tasks, reviews, and reports. By double-clicking on the activity box, we can open it and see the different tasks, reports, and reviews our activity is made of. Here you can see it. This workflow inside the activity is called Activity Item and is designed at Blueprints tab. Then, those activity items can be attached to different activities. We have already created our activity item and attached it to our process. To attach a new activity item, you only need to click on this icon and select one of the blueprints you have already created. Once the activity item is attached to our process activity, the next step is to configure the different steps inside the activity. We can do it by double-clicking on the boxes. This step is very important for two reasons. Here's where we merge our Excels with Vena, and the other reason is that if users and task forms are not set to the tasks, task forms and users, the process will not run. But before configuring these steps, we need to upload our existing Excels to Vena. So just go to the Files Library tab and click on the Upload File button. We are going to upload an input template, so let's open the input template, the input forms folder, and click the Upload button. Select the template and upload it. Now that we have our Excel spreadsheets uploaded to Vena, the next step is to link them to the task they were designed for. So go to the Activities tab again, and by double-clicking on the box as we seen before, we can input a different name for the task and also some instructions and reference documents in order to make the task easier for the people in charge. And then you have to attach the Excel template you have just uploaded. Okay, now we have our task form and we have already selected the users, supporters and watchers. So the task is properly configured, and then click Save. We must do the same for all the steps in order to finish our process. Okay, now we must create our data model, also called central database, to attach it to the process we have just created. This is done at Model tab. The first step in order to create a new data model is to click on the pencils icon. And then just type a name and click on Add to create a new data model. We have already created our database called Webinar Sales. And after creating the data model, you have to attach it to the process. Just click on the Attach button and look for your process. As you can see, our process is already attached to our database. So at this point, the Excel spreadsheets are uploaded to Vena and linked to the central database. The next step is to create the dimensions that we need. As we saw at the beginning of the demo, our Excel template has 7 different dimensions. We have 5 dimensions on pages: year, version, entity, product, and currency, and then 1 dimension across columns, the period dimension, and 1 dimension by rows, the account dimension. So we need to create those dimensions in our database. As you can see, we have already created 5 dimensions, and we are going to create 2 more dimensions in order to show you how easy. For currency dimension, we are going to populate it manually. So just input the name, select the dimension, and add a sibling member. You can delete the default member just by right-clicking and select delete. Okay, now we are going to create the account dimension. The account dimension is a larger dimension, so we are going to populate it using the ETL tool. So go to the ETL tab and run import hierarchies template. Then select the CSV file which contains our hierarchy and upload it. And then if we go back to Members tab, we will see our dimensions fully populated. So now our Excel files are in Vena, our database is created, and all we need to do is to link the database with the Excel templates to make possible the data retrieving. This linking is made by mapping the original templates with our database dimensions. To map our Excel files, we need to open them from the folder where we stored them at Manager tab. Select it and open. Opening them from here allows us to work on an online Excel with all the new Vena features enabled. Now let's see how to map the spreadsheet with our database. Okay, in order to map the dimensions, we need to go to Edit Template, and then at the Data Mapping area, we can see that we have the option Pages, the option Rows, and Columns. So to map the dimensions on pages, we need to use this option. For example, you select the cell where you want to map the currency dimension. Select the members of this dimension and just click OK. We must do the same for each dimension on pages. Then for the dimensions across rows, across columns, we need to select all the cells and click on columns. As you can see, this dimension is already mapped. What we did was to select all the members inside the dimensions and send them to the right box and then click OK. And the final step is to map the dimensions by rows. So just select all the cells where you want to map the items, the members of the dimension, and select rows. We have exactly the same items in this account and in the Excel template. So just select all the members, all the items, and send them to the box on the right. So now our template is fully mapped, and after completing the mapping, we need to analyze the template, and if no warnings or errors are found, just save the template. As you can see, we also have data in our spreadsheet. So we also need to hit the Save Data button in order to send all this data to the database. If it were needed, We also can delete the mapping by using this button, clear mapping, just in case we did something wrong. Okay, now we have mapped our template and saved the data inside this template in the database. So if we delete some cells and click on the refresh data button, it will be retrieved from the database again. Click on the refresh data button, and then all the data come from the database to our template again. That means that we can retrieve all this data from the database to other Excel templates, like report templates, which is very useful. In order to close this first introduction to Vena, I'm going to show you some features added to Excel by Vena. Okay, we can map several dimensions member by pages in the same cell. So in order to switch them, we can use the choose button. For example, now we are watching the store 102 data. We can switch it to the store 103. And as long as we don't input any data will be retrieved from the database. So that's why this store is empty. But if we go back to our 102 store, you can see that all the data is retrieved again. You can remember that we have seen how to create dimensions and members inside the dimension. We can insert new members in the dimensions and also edit and remove them from the template using the buttons in the line item details area. Modifications made in this way will be automatically uploaded and updated in our database. So it's an easy way to work with Vena. Another feature is the audit trial. This allows us to track the changes made in our template. We can see the user who made those changes and the date as well. For example, I have done 3 changes in this template during the webinar. If you select one, you can click the view button, so you can go back to this previous moment in a different Excel workbook. And by selecting 2 of them, you can compare them in 2 different workbooks. We also have the drill function. If we select one cell with a value, this one for instance, and go to drill through saves, we will see the different values that this specific cell has had throughout the time, the users who modified it, and the date when he did it. As you can see, the value of this cell have always been 3500. At the data model button, we can check out the data model where the Excel template is linked to. We can also switch the data model if it were necessary and refresh it in case we've made some changes at the cloud platform while the Excel template was open. In this case, we only have one data model, and is the data model where our template is linked to. Finally, at the Edit Template ribbon, we can create validation rules. Those validation rules can be created in combination with Excel's if statements. It is as simple as creating an Excel's if statement which retrieves true or false result. As you can see, we have already created an if statement, and then using the add or edit rule, we can create a validation rule which warns or forbids us from saving if the result of the if statement is false. In this case, we can create a profit validation rule, and it will be soft. If it would be hard, we couldn't save any data. But if it is soft, we can save the data after a warning. So now if we try to save the data, Vena warns us that the profitability is unexpected. And yes, we want to save the data. Okay, at this point we have seen Vena's main characteristics, and in order to remember them, let's do a quick wrap up. So at the beginning of the demo, we have seen how to create and configure a process. Then we built and populated the database and attached it to our process. After that, the Excel template was mapped and the data was saved in the database. Finally, we overview some features added to Excel by Vena. So this is the end of this first Vena webinar. Thank you for joining, and we hope to hear from you soon. Bye bye.